the best version of yourself professionally and personally. Each episode empowers you to release the limitations, fears, and old patterns that keep you stuck, while embracing the strategies and mindsets that lead to true success. Through powerful conversations and expert insights, you'll discover how to transform your career trajectory while maintaining inner balance, build unshakable confidence in your abilities, create meaningful relationships that support your growth, and master the art of letting go to make room for what serves you. Whether you're climbing the corporate ladder, building your dream business, or seeking deeper personal fulfillment, Let It Go and Flourish provides the guidance you need to thrive in all areas of life. Join our community of forward-thinking individuals who are ready to release what no longer serves them and step into their full potential. New episodes drop every Friday at 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time. Visit merlynclarke.com to listen to the podcast and take the first step toward your extraordinary future. Remember, your greatest self emerges when you let go of who you think you should be and embrace who you truly are. Let it go and flourish. Release, renew, and rise.
Hello to my amazing audience. Welcome to another episode of Let It Go and Flourish podcast show. Oh, this is episode 11, and you are in for a special treat today because today, let me welcome those who are here for the very first time. You know, for those of you who are here for the very first time, the Let It Go and Flourish is a transformative podcast that guides you to become the best version of yourself professionally and personally. Now, the inspiration for the podcast came from my book, Let It Go and Flourish, Live a Life of Peace, Passion, and Purpose. And that is on sale on Amazon.com. However, you can purchase a signed copy directly from me and pay an additional $5, which covers the shipping. All right? That's for the shipping. Now, today you're in for a special treat. Today I have Wilbert Batiste, also known as Will, as our expert guest. But let me tell you about my special guest before I introduce him to you. Wilbert, affectionately called Will, is a powerhouse in his own right. He is a certified mental health first aid coach and mental health first aid coach by the Mental Health Commission of Canada. He is passionate about men's well-being. He guides them to find strength in their vulnerability and to live an emotionally free, conscious, and balanced life. He is the author of The Will to Rise, and he is a committed speaker. Will shares his journey and practical tools to inspire men to connect with their essence and heal from their inner wounds. He is also the founder and president of Rising Men Alliance, an organization dedicated to psychological support, suicide prevention, and the promotion of men's mental health. Through his leadership, he actively advocates for emotional safety, the value of fatherhood, and the personal development of men for marginalized communities. Will is deeply committed to breaking the taboos surrounding male vulnerability by creating safe spaces where men can speak, rise, and thrive. Will is recognized by many organizations, including the following: Black Healthcare Heroes Award 2024 from Toronto, honored for his exceptional commitment to mental health. He's recognized for his community leadership and contribution to the promotion of fatherhood, and that's an Impact Award that he received in 2025. He is the Inspirational Men of Quebec ambassador. But before I present Will, I would like to share how we met. All right, I want to share how Will and I met. Will and I met on Clubhouse, and this was through a mutual connection. Dawn Kirk, my very good friend, who, by the way, will be my guest speaker in December. Will was a frequent supporter of our show, Let's Talk Leadership with MMTI. And I was also a frequent supporter of Will's show as well. I recall him having guests from the mental health profession, and they always offered major value to the audience. This is why I had to get him on this show. And I thank him for accepting the invitation. Ladies and gentlemen, Wilbert Batiste, also known as Will. Will, welcome to Let's Talk Leadership.
Well,
Will flourish.
what? Right.
let, it, let it go and flourish.
Yes, yeah, what a great introduction. I mean, if I didn't know myself, I would have thought that you were talking about somebody else. Sometimes it's good to be reminded of the thing that we have done, but also it's a reminder of how far we come and how far we still have to go. So I am humbly uh 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 you know being here today on your platform. You graciously have contacted me months and months ago. In my head, I'm like, who does that? Who books somebody almost a year ahead of time? And that's when I knew you were very serious. I said, you know what? When someone is serious about their work, everybody else should be taking that person serious. So I am glad to be here today. I am coming from Montreal, Quebec. Bonjour tout le monde, for those of you who speaks French. And I'm here just to really talk from my heart and how, helping men have helped me. Because a lot of time we want to extend our hands to somebody, but I always say, while you extend your hand to somebody else, your hands is already open to receive as well. So I'm here to just give, and I know what I'm giving, I'm going to be receiving 10 times more than what I give. So here we are, and I'm so glad, and I can't wait to have this conversation started.
Thank you, Will. You said something that I've always practiced, always embraced. While you're opening your hands to receive, you're also opening your hands to give. And I always learned that when you keep your hands closed, nothing comes in and nothing goes out. And that is why I embrace generosity. So let me ask you this. What was your inspiration for writing the book Will to Rise?
That inspiration was divine. And I even talk about how the name came about in the book. Because some people would say, well, I mean, this part of your name, of course. I mean, will to rise, it just makes sense. Ha 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 ha. But there's more to that. It is divine, and I'm going to explain why is it divine. I don't want people to be spooky talking about spirituality or whatnot, because we tend to over spiritualize everything. But that's not my case. I can recall as it was yesterday on January 20th, 2020, as I was sitting in my apartment after a very, very hard separation, and I found myself against the wall, literally sitting on my couch, not knowing whether I was going to live to see the next day or the next hour. I was really down and out, battling demons inside of my head,
Mhm,
staying home by myself, not eating, not taking a shower. I don't want to give it too much graphic, but you can understand
mhm,
as a man, as a coach today, imagine Will being at his home, not taking a shower, not eating for days. So you can tell that I was at the end of my rope. And as I was cursing God,
mhm,
please understand, as I was cursing God on one hand, for allowing me to go through what I was going through, I was thanking him for allowing me to go through what I was going through. Why? Because he knew that I was going to go through what I was going through, but he allowed me to still go through it. So as I was debating, and as I thought I could debate with God, in my humble opinion, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I hear a voice: "Will, rise up," because I didn't have the mental fortitude, the strength, the inspiration, None of that. There's nobody in the world that could have got me out of my couch, but only a simple word. And it's just to tell you that how words can make all the difference. If I'm here today, and I don't want to get emotional, and that's okay if I do, if I'm here today because of those words, will rise up. And I'm here today because I was able to find the strength to rise up. And today I can share my testimony. And from this point forward, I never look back. And that's why I call the book Will to Rise. Because I believe that we all have will and we all have the strength to rise up. And I'm hoping at the end of the show that you'll find your own will to rise as well. When I say you, I'm talking to your audience, of course.
Wonderful. That is so amazing, having the will to rise, because that will is what keeps us going. Because in life, we're going to experience challenges. And some people experience challenges and they handle it differently. But I'm glad you heard that voice and that you were obedient to that voice. I really had to get you on here because, as I shared with you earlier, and for those listening who may not know what I do, I'm a leadership and life coach, and I help high achieving women over 50. I work with different women, but specifically that group, help them overcome limiting beliefs, self doubt, to build wealth and legacy so that they can lead and communicate with confidence. Confidence. And why I had to get you on this show, for women to be successful and focus on what is important to them, the men in their lives have to be not only physically healthy, but emotionally, mentally healthy. So, this episode is for everybody, for the men who need help and for the women to understand and to help their men get help when they need it. I love the work that you do with helping men move forward in life, Will. And I want to know, I do not know of too many men who are leading the battle of men's mental health. What is your motivation to start this program?
Again, my motivation started with my own mental health trials.
Mhm.
My mental health took a hit about 5 years ago, and I was again, facing the wall and contemplating, um, very very dark uh, time in my life. And as I was looking around, trying to find men and that are going through the same thing I was going through, trying to find some help from the system. And I realized that every time that I hit a brick wall, or I would talk to men, but that was nothing to do with what I'm saying. I'm like, I can't be alone. I can't be by myself. And as I start, being vulnerable and open up, and then that's when men are starting to talk to me. They say, you know what? I'm glad that you're talking to me about this because this is what I've been going through. And I say, how come you guys haven't not talked about it? Because we have not felt safe. We have not find someone who identify with us for us to feel that we can talk about it and it's not going to be judged.
Mhm.
That's when I knew that there was a problem among men all across the board, but especially among my men minorities and black people.
Mhm.
So for me, doing this work is more than just work. This is my calling because a job is what we get paid for, but a purpose is what we are called for. So we do not want to confuse a calling versus a job. So for me, that's my ministry because where I was 5 years ago, down and out, I don't ever want to see another man go through this. So if I can provide a healthy place, if I can extend my hands to a man that are battling whatever demons that they are battling, whether it's from their childhood, whether it's from a divorce, whether it's from a business that failed. whatever it is, that there is a place for those men. and and I always say, when a man is healed, not only his family is going to benefit from that, but his community going to benefit from that, but more so, society is going to is going to benefit from that. So for a man who's in a relationship, I believe that we can heal together without hurting each other. And I think that is very important. Let me repeat that again. I believe men and women can heal together without hurting each other. And the great question that you posed earlier, I believe when a man can provide, and I want to be very clear about being a provider, because what I thought growing up, providing means bringing money, but it is more than just money. You
Yes.
have to provide mentally, spiritually, emotionally, yes, financially, but physically. So we have to be all around, not just for the people around us, but for us as well. So we have to make sure that our cup is full in order for us to be the provider that we want in all over. So a man that is listening to me and say, well, I don't know how to do that. Well, I didn't either. Well, guess what? Now that I'm here, and a woman that say, you know what? How can I get my husband to do a certain things? No, you don't get your husband to do anything. However, you can create that space for him to come to his own. And of course, getting the help that they need, but they have to feel safe, feel like that they can come to you with something that they don't have to feel ashamed. They don't have to feel judged, that they can openly talk to you about whatever it is that they're going through.
You have unpacked so much. I mean, we talked a little before the show because so many, and I shared with you that many women are, they embrace change, they embrace seeking help. But for a lot of men, and it's how they were raised, they feel that asking for help is a sign of weakness. But it's not. Asking for help is a sign of strength, and it mitigates the challenges, it mitigates the problems. And I really had to get you here because I know that you will open up and share your experiences and let men know it's nothing wrong with seeking help. It's to make you whole, because people don't feel safe. Even for women, some women, they don't feel safe having opening up to different people, and that's why coaches exist, so that they can come and they can talk about what they're experiencing and not feel judged, you know? And something you touched on when you talked about your calling versus a job. A job is what you get paid for. And for a long time, I used to think, my job is my purpose. No, many people I worked for decades in the financial servicing industry, in the financial district in New York, in banks, insurance, and all of that. And when I discovered what my purpose is, that's what you were called to do, why you were created. It did not take me long to embrace that and go out on my own, because I like helping people. I love what I'm doing. I am passionate about it. And people who know me, they know that's what it's about for me. So you choose your jobs, you choose your careers, you choose your friends, but you discover your purpose. You
Absolutely.
discover your purpose.
And something I want to add to your purpose. It is the most, it is the best revelation. And once you discover your purpose, that's when you start living. Because prior to that, you were just existing. You were just going through life. But once you discover, the reason why it's very important that we say discover, not found your purpose, because your purpose was never lost. In order for you to find something, it had to be have been lost. Discovering means that now he already exists. You just now come to the full understanding of
Yes.
your purpose. And I just want to add one more thing. Don't stop chasing your purpose,
No.
because your purpose is, you can't chase you, it's already inside of you. All you got to do is just continue to go through the direction that you're going, and then you going to discover your purpose. And of course, being around people that help you to see your purpose. You and I, Merlyn, we are no different than everybody else. The only difference is We are blessed, and I don't want to say word. I don't want to use the word luck. We are blessed to have found our purpose. I am blessed. I have found my purpose at 40 years old. Today I'm 45. Some people would find it later on in life, and that's okay. Some people will find it early and will discover it early in life. That's okay too. It's just whenever you discover your purpose, that's when life begins. And for me, life has begun at 40 years old.
And you know, that's amazing because I've always known what I love to do. But by default, I was thrown into the financial services industry. And I can talk about that another time. I love working with people. I love helping people. So I pursued a degree in human resources management. But by default, I was thrust right into the mutual fund industry. And I got stuck there until I discovered no, no, you're being stifled. Get out. So I really, I'm going to do a show specifically on discovering our purpose because I think there are many people who need to get some more clarity on that. So thanks for that, Will. Now, another thing I want to ask you, tell us about your work on the promotion of fatherhood because it is often overlooked.
Absolutely. For those who understand the slang, being a father and being a dad is different. Um, because we all have the ability as a man to be a father because we were born with everything that needs to produce or to procreate, and we call it fatherhood. But I want to take it deeper. Being a dad is much more than that. Now I want to promote a healthy fatherhood. The reason why I want to do that, because if you look at statistically, and I don't like too much statistic, but that's what we have. Statistically speaking, 85% of child, and especially when it comes to boys, either will either go one way or the other. And it will all depends on whether or not the father is in the house. And not to throw shade on single mothers. That's not what I'm doing. But statistics shows that when a man is in the house, or a father figure, not necessarily mean the men have to be in the house, but when there's a father figure, this child less likely to end up being in jail or being killed. So the importance of fatherhood, or I would say healthy fatherhood, is so important, and for so many reasons and so many levels. Not only is it help that child to grow up understanding what it's like to be a man, because you were born a male, but you become a man. But how can you become a man if you never have that model to you? So, and also a woman, I believe, this is me, I believe a woman can thrive even more. Women are thriving. I mean, 2025, you have more women today with degrees. You have more women that are taking on positions that we've never seen before, which I'm very happy. Now, imagine if there's a healthy masculine in the house, what this woman could achieve even way beyond why? Because she knows she has that anchor, right? Because it for me, we have to find that balance between feminine and masculine energy, and we are not meant to be alone, and some people choose to be alone, and that's fine. But I believe at the end of the day, whether you are in a relationship or with just a friendship, we all need one another. So for me, fatherhood is so important. And when I talk about fatherhood, I don't mean for you to be in the house with the mother. If that doesn't work out, fine. You can also be adults for that child. So being a father doesn't mean you have to be in the house 24/7. Whether you separate or you live in another country, and you can still be there for that child, because that child needs to know that there is somebody that I can model. There's somebody that I can call if I'm in trouble. So for me, promoting healthy fatherhood is not just because I'm a father myself, but because I think it's good for the home, it's good for the community, but also it's good for our society.
Fantastic, fantastic. I'm glad you've shared some clarity on that. Now, why is men's mental health so important to you? And you may have shared some. Is there anything else you would like to add as to why their mental health is so important to you?
Absolutely. Mental health is important all across the board, whether men, women, and young men, in youth. Now, the reason why I want to talk about men's mental health particularly is because of what we have seen in the last 5 years. We have seen incarceration has skyrocketed. We have seen domestic violence has skyrocketed, and we have seen suicide, especially here in Canada. Um, 3 out of 4 suicides are men. That's
Hmm.
75%. That's a lot.
Mhm.
That's way too high. The reason why it's important to me, because as I mentioned earlier, I have battled with dark thoughts in even playing on multiple occasions to take my own life. But
Mhm.
God wasn't ready to give up on me yet, although I was ready to give up on myself. And that's when you know that you have discovered your purpose. When God can turn your 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 triumph into your trials into triumph, right? When God can turn your your testimony into something, your trials into your testimony, you know you're onto something. It's important to me because too many men, the reason why everything that's going on in the world is because men are emotionally constipated. And I
Mm.
don't want to have to explain to any of you what constipation is. I'm sure at some point in your life you have been constipated, and you know the only person it hurts is you. So
Mhm.
when men are emotionally constipated, it's just a matter of time before they take that out on somebody else. And most time, it's the people that are closest to them. So
Yes.
what I want men to be is to be emotionally free, not
Yes.
only to find the strength in their vulnerability, but also to be emotionally free. Because when a man can be vulnerable, and I teach that on my classes, it's called the triple A. First thing you got to do, you have to acknowledge that you have emotions. Forget the fact that people say that men don't have emotions. We all have emotions. That's part of our soul. We were created with emotions. That's number one. So you have to acknowledge that you do have emotions, and you have to admit that those emotions sometimes do take over your life. And then you have to take action. And that's our responsibility. So for
Yes.
me, I'm doing this because it's so important. And also, it's good for society and it's good for overall the family. Because when a man is healthy, when a man can take care of himself, he can be in a better position to take care of everyone else that's around him.
Absolutely. And I shared that at the beginning. For successful women, you high achieving women, in order to be successful in life, the men in your lives have to be emotionally healthy, not just physically healthy. Because if not, you're going to be distracted when you're dealing with these mental health issues. So get help. And remember, asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. And I can't emphasize that enough. All right. And I thank Will for being on this show. And I'm going to have to get him back on this show. So, Will, I want to ask you, is there some program or a book or something you want to promote? And if your audience would like to learn more about you, how can they reach you besides being on LinkedIn? Share that with us.
Absolutely. Right now, I do one-on-one coaching. I do have a program that's going to come out in 2026. Be on the lookout for that. I have my book that's available on Amazon. It's called The Will to Rise. And great news, my second book is pretty much finished. It's called The Will to Move Forward, because I believe once we have risen, we have to move forward. It is a trilogy, and the third book is going to be The Will to Win. So once we've risen, we move forward. Now we want to learn how to win. So be on the lookout for that. And how people can find me, I am very, very, you know, present. Yes, on LinkedIn, but also on Facebook and also on Instagram as well. So I am here. And I have a nonprofit, Rising Men Alliance, for those in my area, especially in Montreal, to be able to serve people on a daily basis in a practical manner. We have collaboration with therapists and psychologists and researchers to understand exactly the magnitude of men's mental health, especially in the Black community. So again, my book is available on Amazon. My second book will be coming out in 2026, and you look for me, Well Baptist, on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I'm there. So DM me, send me a message. I'll be more than happy to take a few minutes with you just to understand exactly what you're going through, and if I can lend a hand, why not? Because I am, after all, my brother's keeper.
Amazing. Thank you, Will. Thank you for sharing such great value on this podcast show. You know, I'm going to have to get you back on here. So just don't be surprised when I call and said, okay, Will, what's your availability on this date? Because I know you're going to have more to add, you know. So for those of you who would like to reach me, you may contact me at merlynclarke.com or message me on LinkedIn. I am the founder of Mac Leadership Solutions, LLC. And what I have coming up, I am working on the final part of my 2026 planner. I created a planner a couple of years ago, but this planner is not an ordinary planner. This planner has coaching prompts to help you thrive, because I am in the flourishing business. Let it go and flourish. Live a life of peace, passion, and purpose. So look out for my planner, which is coming out sometime in early December. So it makes a nice Christmas gift for your friends and family, or even for your team members to plan. You can't succeed if you don't plan ahead. Set goals, plan, work your plan, and get help when needed. And Will has been an amazing guest. And you know how to reach him if you need help for yourselves or for the men in your lives. All right. And I'm going to leave you with a word from our sponsors.
Hello. I am Merlyn Clarke. And as the owner of Mac Leadership Solutions, I know you're driven for growth. The Mac Success Academy is your launchpad to capture those explosive moments and achieve the success you crave. For less than your daily coffee habit at $17 a month, you will gain access to live training, action-oriented teachings, and a library of digital courses that are written, audio, or video. Don't miss out on this investment in yourself. It's the key to unlocking the best year of your life. At under $1 a day, you'll gain the tools and strategies to dominate this year and beyond. Remember, lasting transformation demands action. If you yearn for more success, growth, happiness, and stability, the Mac Success Academy is your answer. It's time to stop wishing and start thriving. Join us today.
So, Will